Well, the federal government has been shut down for a week now, meaning hundreds of thousands of government workers have either worked without pay or have not been working. Our Verify team has been looking into claims that the shutdown in D.C. could have impacts at the farthest reaches of our solar system. Here's what they found out.
So the key players in the shutdown: President Trump wanting funding for his border wall, and Congress who can't come to a consensus. For reference, Capitol Hill and Congress are about 1.5 miles from the White House, but the skirmish here could be affecting a space probe 4 billion miles away. At least that's what these claims online say. Are they true? Here's the fact. 12 years ago, NASA launched New Horizons, a probe to explore the furthest parts of our solar system. In 2015, it sent us these awesome photos of Pluto. And after that, NASA aimed the probe at this tiny object called Ultima Thule. If that's too much space talk, NASA says it's the most distant exploration of anything in history. Kind of a big deal. NASA has it all scheduled for about 10 a.m. Eastern on January 1st. That's verified. So how does that skirmish in DC play into all of this? NASA, being a government agency, is included in the shutdown. And last week, NASA's CFO wrote a letter detailing how that works. They shut down and furloughed all employees, except those working with the International Space Station and satellites in operation. Put simply, NASA is included in the shutdown, but they have exceptions for staff working on the ISS and probes like the New Horizons. So thankfully, the probe will go on to fly by that crazy faraway object on Tuesday. These claims that the NASA probe is at risk because of the shutdown are false. It is worth noting the shutdown prevents NASA from streaming or broadcasting the event, but their partners at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory say they will broadcast it if NASA can.
Well, that is nice of them to do. If you have a story that you want us to verify, you can let us know on social media. Just reach out to Megan Malaris. You can also send us an email. Let's get your questions verified.